Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed some of those photos of the Welsh Hewitts. So I've been asked by a few people to describe what the Hewitts are, and you know, many of you are aware that I'm on my second round of the Welsh Hewitts. So I thought I'd do a very short video, put some photos in and describe some of the books that I've used and some of my observations about following a mountain list, really. To begin at the beginning, I think it's universally accepted that a mountain or a hill is anything over 2,000 foot. And there are lots of lists of different mountains. Obviously, we've got the famous Munros in Scotland, mountains over 3,000 feet. We've got the Wainwrights, which maybe in Lake District, but also Donnells, Marylands, Humps, Sims, and Grahams, and I think there's a few other lists out there. Just a name, but a few. What about Wales? Well, the Nuttals is a list of the Welsh 2,000 foot peaks, created by a husband and wife team of John and Anne Nuttal, and they surveyed England and Wales and published a list of mountains over 2,000 feet. To qualify as a Nuttal, a hill must rise above the surrounding area by at least approximately 50 feet all round. Nothing wrong with that. It's a cracking list, and I'll talk about the book later. However, what I found when I did that, started doing some of the Nuttals, was that actually some of the Nuttals were literally bumps on ridges of a subsidiary parent peak, if that makes sense. They were just bumps, and they didn't seem really to justify the effort of climbing them. Anyway. So nothing wrong with the Nuttals. I think there's about 190 of them. They keep on growing, and the list is changing all the time, which is a topic I will discuss a little bit later. But it's personal choice. So I chose the Hewitts. Now, the Hewitts are the highest summits of England and Wales and Ireland over 2,000 feet, created by Alan Dawson, and there's a book on it. So the Hewitts were the mountain list that I thought I'd follow a few years back. And the criterion is quite different. For a hill to qualify as a Hewitt, it must rise above its surroundings on all sides, same as a Nuttal, but this time by approximately 100 feet, not 50 feet, which is the Nuttall's criteria for qualification. So a Hewitt has to be 100 foot above all its surroundings. So they're a bit more distinctive, shall we say that. Let's show the Hewitt map. So like I said, the problem with any list is that they get resurveyed all the time, which means the list can fluctuate and change. The Munro list is a good example. I think there's 282 now, but it's been a lot more than that and a lot less, varying over the years with mountains being resurveyed. So I wonder what Sir Hugh Munro would think of that when he did the list back in 1891. So I don't know. I'm not sure whether he'd be impressed, really. But there are roughly 139, I make it at the moment, Hewitts. But that Hewitt list has changed, and I'll put some photos and some descriptions of the names. My Welsh pronunciation isn't very good. So there's two new Hewitts, which is Mynydd Graig Goch on the Mantle Ridge, right on the end. There's a video of mine which I did it earlier on this year for the second time. And Fiol Penlaw, which is the most northerly peak on the Rhinog mountain range, near Transfyrddin, It's near Moel Ysgafynagod, and that's an interesting mountain. That's now qualified as 2,000 feet because it's and 100 feet all round. It's in a recent survey. An interesting point about Fiol Penlaw, I think I pronounced it right, in the Rhinogs, is that many people think that the only mountains in Wales that you can't really walk up are, and you have to use your hands at some point, are Tryfan, obviously, and Cribgoch. Well, let me tell you, try and have a go up Fiol Penlaw, the new Hewitt on the list in the Rhinogs, because you'll have to put your hands on rock there to get up to it. It's a rock peak. So that's a little pub quiz bit of information for you. So it's not just Cribgoch and Tryfan that you can't walk up in Wales. Also, there's been one change. One of the mountains has moved, literally, by a few hundred yards. It was Srinion Nod, which I'll put the name up, which is in the Hirnant mountain range, which is above Lake Vyrnwy. That's moved to Fiol Credig, which is just 1 metre higher. Someone surveyed it, and it's moved slightly. So I did that last year for the second time. A little bit crazy. It's just moved up a matter of a few hundred yards. However, you could argue, let's be honest, that there are many great mountains in Wales under 2,000 feet. And I know we've got that universal cut-off, which they say above 2,000 feet is a mountain, but does it matter? I don't think it does. Let's be honest. I know some of you are already thinking, what about the Sugarloaf, for example, above Abergavenny? That's a fantastic mountain, but it doesn't qualify as a mountain on lists because it's under the magical height of 2,000 feet. I don't think it does matter, to be honest with you. I was walking up in the Preseli Mountains earlier this year. They rise above Pembrokeshire, and they feel more like 3,000 foot mountain peaks, really, the highest mountain there, because you're way above the ground. But it's, again, that is, I think it's 1,900 odd feet, so it doesn't qualify as Hewitt. So, you know, take it as it is. I've got two mountains local to me, Gair. I put a short video on called Local Heroes. They're over 300 metres, fantastic views, fantastic walks, helped me get through lockdown to get up there. So it doesn't matter, does it, really, whether they are 2,000 foot or not. There are brilliant hills all over Wales, which are fantastic. So I'm not promoting mountains over 2,000 feet. I just happened to do a hell of a lot of hill walking and decided, well, I might as well do a list. But a list does get you out and about. Hence, that's why I did it. And it gives you a bit of purpose, something to follow. But I am in control of my emotions when doing the Hewitts. It's not just about bagging a Hewitt every walk I go on. I do bag some Hewitts, obviously, and I've got videos out on my channel this year. But generally, I'll go for a walk. I'll decide where I'm going to go, and that's it. I'm not obsessed by it. Like some people can be obsessed doing lists. So certainly, I'm not. I completed my first round of Hewitts on Iraran in Stoughton range on the 17th of December 2006, so it was quite a long time ago, nearly 20 years. And I know I've only got a handful of Hewitts left for my second round, and I'm hoping to finish my second round on Glyder Fawr. So I picked that this time, and hopefully I should finish it sometime this year, hopefully in the winter. Depending on my fitness and if my wife allows me to go out. Don't tell her that. Anyway. So I just wanted to mention some books. There's lots of books out there and on walking and Wales and the national parks. And there are some good websites out there. There's a good website about the Hewitts. I'll mention it on the video. And there's also Walk Islands, where you can plot Munros and Hewitts, and that's good, and look at other people's comments and experience and photographs. So there's a lot on the internet. Obviously, the internet wasn't as robust and as daily life is now. We need the internet. When I first started out walking, so there was a few books that I looked at, and I'll describe each one now. So The Mountains of Wales by Terry Marsh. This is a book there. He's categorised, he's just used 600 metres. Every mountain in Wales over 600 metres. That's quite good. Good book. That when I first discovered it, and I think it was published in something like 1980 or 82, in the early 80s anyway. Terry Marsh has done lots of writing, walking books on, especially on Lake District and Wales, etc. When I looked at this, I thought, God alive, it's not just Snowdonia, there's mountains everywhere, there's the Berwyns, there's Mid Wales, and it got me quite excited and quite interested in starting to do those type of mountains. Now, we did a list of 2,000 foot peaks just in Snowdonia first, and then he realised on top of, I think it was Arnfawddi, looking south, he could see Plynlimmon and the beacons, and thought, perhaps I better do a second book and capture all of 2,000 foot. So this was a bit of my Bible at the time. It was loads of photographs in it, if you can get hold of it. And it's really, really interesting, his account, and he's walked them all. So that was a great book. I was in work one day and there was a book club, someone selling books, and this book popped up, which was Classic Walks in Wales by Steve Ashton. And Steve Ashton is very famous because he did a scrambling book about all the main scrambles in Snowdonia. I've done loads of them when I was younger, and I was full of energy and didn't care about heights, etc. And he's a great writer, done lots of stuff, Steve Ashton. And this book, brilliant photographs, and again, he explores outside the national parks. So it's not just about Snowdonia and the Brecon Beacons. He goes to Mid Wales and outlying mountains. It's really, really good read. He's really funny and great photographs. That got me very interested. Obviously, you got the Nuttall's book. I know what version this is, but they keep on updating it, to be fair to them. They've got a website as well where you can look at news. There's quite a few people reserving, but there's some good suggestion on walks, good routes, really, really good. Worth doing the Nuttals if you feel that way inclined. Very, very good book, and I recommend the Nuttals books. And it's Cicerone Press is the book company, and they do. Many of you will be aware of them. That website, they do loads of hill walking books and description books of Scotland, Wales, and further afield. Fantastic book company. Then I was in Machynlleth one day on holiday with the family, and I was in a shop there, and I saw two books. Hill Walking in Wales by Peter Hermon, again by Cicerone Press. This is the original book. There's two of them. This is the new versions, and Peter, really, really good writer. He's categorised, and he does categorise other mountains below 2,000, but generally it's 2,000 foot peaks. He's got every mountain range in Wales in 2 volumes, and what he does do, he tries to show you every route up the mountain. So there's obviously more than one way up a particular mountain, and it's worth exploring the ideas that he has in here. So I'm on my second round. Yeah, perhaps the classic way up Snowdon is to do the Snowdon Horseshoe, but you can go up the Watkins path. The South Ridge is amazing. Read the path. You obviously got the Llanberis path. I've been up, climbed up Clogwyn Person a Reet, up from the Llanberis Valley to it, done various scrambles, so you can really get to know and feel, get a feel for the mountain. So this is why on my second round, there's so many mountains that I don't regularly visit, and on my second time I thought, well, I'll try and approach it differently so I can get a feel for the mountain and feel for the area. And finally, the Hewitts Bible by Graham Uney. Graham Uney's a solid writer, has got lots of books out on backpacking, and he's a mountain leader. This book came out and it's on Logaston Press. He's categorised the Hewitts in Wales. So at the back of the book, there's the Hewitts list. There's a list, several pages of mountains, and you can tick the Hewitts off. He describes the routes. He set up the Hewitts Society, which I was a member of. But I presume it was. They used to have a newsletter, etc., and they used to have meets where they used to go up walking. And at that time, I was working shifts, and it didn't end up being something that I pursued really. But I presume it's still going. And at the end of all the mountain ranges and the descriptions, like I said, there's a tick log list or table that you can tick off the mountains. There is his account. He actually started in the Brecon Beacons, and in one continuous walk did all the Hewitts. It took him a few weeks over one summer back in the 90s, and it took him a few weeks, like I said, and that's his account, his travelogue account. He just went for it and backpacked and did them all in one go. And interestingly enough, I think he's obviously the first person recorded to have done that. Hamish Brown, was it, did the Munros. I've got his book, that's really interesting. He did in the 70s. He did all the Munros in one continuous walk. And he cycled or canoed. He self-propelled, and that's an interesting book to read as well. So why do the Hewitts? Well, just some thoughts finally, really. Well, completing any list of the hills is a great achievement. I think that you'll be very satisfied, and but it isn't the end all of everything. But take it for what it is. It's a bit of fun, and it gives you something to follow, really, and particularly when I've been up the Beacons quite a lot, and a few trips to Snowdonia. But really, it improved my knowledge of Wales and on hill walking generally. It takes you to new places outside of the national parks. There's lots of mountains, as you're aware of, in mid Wales and the Cambrian Mountains and the Berwyns, etc., etc. So it was really good fun going to the Radnor Forest or going up Dragonfawr, the highest mountain in the Elan Valley. Fantastic area, fantastic opportunities for walking. And if you follow my videos, I'm quite passionate about Mid Wales. I think it probably should be a national park. But looking at the way some of them people manage the bloody national parks, that may not be a good idea. But we got to preserve those areas and look after them. So yes, there's mountains outside of the national park, and the Hewitts were really good at me getting out and about and exploring Wales and ticking off the Hewitts as I did so. Often you found as well, I found that the lesser hills in sort of height and away from the main big summits of the Brecon Beacons, of Snowdonia, you actually get really good views of Snowdonia from some different locations, rather than being in those what they call honeypot locations all the time, where you see Penavon. It's nice to see it from Dragonfawr. Fantastic view looking back on a clear day at the Brecon Beacons. Arenig Fawr is quite high mountain, but it's isolated, and you can see in Snowdonia, you can see every mountain range in Snowdonia. from Arenig Fawr. It's one of the only mountains you'll be able to do that. It's fantastic. You can see even Berwyn's and Plynlimmon from there. So that's a fantastic mountain. So I found going to these, following the Hewitts list and finding these virgin mountains, if I can use that word, and climbing up was quite exciting, and looking at the map and plotting your route rather than doing the same sort of walks all the time. And there you will find inside the national parks and outside the national parks there are loads of interesting hills, moorlands, valleys, waterfalls, aircraft crash sites. There's rivers, forests, there's loads of places to go and discover. And the Hewitts led me to some of those places. And if it hadn't been for the Hewitts, I wouldn't have discovered them. So like I said, the Hewitts have sort of pushed and prompted me to get off my backside and get in a car and go and do something different. And you know, I was only last week up in Manod Mawr in Blaenau Ffestiniog, cracking mountain, brilliant views from it. But I probably would have driven as fast as I could through Blaenau Ffestiniog and get into the into Snowdonia. Up in the Ogwen Valley, for example, or Llanberis Pass, and I'm not really taking much notice of it. But it's a cracking mountain, and the Hewitt list has really widened my mind to what we have. Luckily, we've got in Wales. Yeah, so the Hewitts have been a catalyst for me to get out and explore Wales. And the fact is, the most walking in, for example, in the national parks, for example, in Snowdon, most of the walkers and walking is done within a few miles of Snowdon, when the actual national park, and probably Cadi'r Idris, within a mile or two of Cadi'r Idris, those two areas, but we'll see the bulk of the walking and walkers visit. But actually the national park is 827 square miles in size, but all the walking is done in those little areas. And it's the same for the Bretton Beatons. I think most of the walking, as everyone knows, is done, you could say the waterfall area, but I would say Penavon and up by Story Arms, and people don't really explore the national park and really go and visit all the other wonderful places. The national park, Bretton Beatons National Park, is 519 square miles. It's massive. So go and explore it, and the Hewitts prompted me to do that. Maybe I shouldn't be saying it, because I don't want people to go to some of my favourite places, because there's very few people about, which is nice, and you never see any litter. But you know, I've got to mention it. A lot of the walking is done in certain areas. The Hewitts will make you go to other parts of Wales, but also in national parks you'll visit those square areas and find absolute gems of peaks waiting to be discovered. A disadvantage. Yeah, I suppose disadvantage, you can be a little bit obsessed, and I've seen especially with Munroists, you can just focus on bagging. Every walking trip's got to bag another one, get another one off the list, don't matter what the weather is like, and or what time I've just got to go and do it, and you can become a bit obsessed by it and under a lot of pressure to tick mountains off the list, and you become not to enjoy the actual walk and the experience of that walk because you're obsessed with getting to the top. Never really minding or taking in the views and enjoying the weather and everything else. That's the experience supposed to be. And I was up on Craig Maggie in 1 April. Loads of snow around. Went up to the quarry, up through the famous window, and up and got to the summit. And two guys came up there, and they literally touched the stone and went. I couldn't believe it really, because the views of towards the Cairngorms of the central and southern highlands and out onto the western seaboard, all of the famous peaks, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was a clear, bright day, and all the corries biting in, huge cornices over the side. It was just a fantastic place to sit down and have a bit of food and really take it all in. These guys were up there, going, said hello and went. I thought, oh, they are. There's more than one Munro in that massif. I think they were just going around like hell. Just bag them, get back in a car and drive wherever they were going, back to Glasgow or whatever. And I just thought, oh, that's not good. And my brother was with me and we discussed it. We thought, that's a bit mad. Incidentally, my brother John, congratulations, he's done all the Munros and he's done all the Munros tops, and he's up in Scotland today. Best of luck. I think he's now starting to do the Corbetts, although he denies it. And the Corbetts are a famous list of Scottish mountains, and they have fantastic Corbetts. I've done loads of them, between 2,500 and 3,000 feet, and they're really worth doing, much harder than the Munros. So we discussed that at the time. So you can get a bit obsessed with it, and that's not good. You just want to go and have a wonderful day and enjoy the walk. Also, there's a lot of driving. I'm living in Neath, so a lot of these mountains are up in mid and North Wales. So there's a lot of driving up and back in a day, or trying to work out trips, and that isn't easy in itself, because you've got to try and manage work, family commitments, and it's not always easy to get up to North Wales and do a big walk and get back, where perhaps I'm 30 minutes away from the Bretton Beatons and get up there and do a walk and get back for tea, and keep Mrs. Kingdom happy. So it's not as easy as that, particularly in the early days when I had children. But so there is a lot of effort, more planning involved in the Hewitts, which is a bit more of a downside. But the exciting bit is you've got to get the maps out. It's an area you don't know, and that's a positive then. But you have got to do a lot of driving, and particularly if you want to go Scotland, and I've been to Scotland loads and loads of times, fortunately, and start driving up and back for there, and that's hard work as well. But that's a downside with the Hewitts, and obviously there's cost of money, not just petrol, and it's accommodation if you stay in. So we try and take a tent, Camp Wild, also perhaps sometimes use an hotel, and other times a pub, or a youth hostel or a bunkhouse. Mixed it up a little bit, or use ferries to get somewhere. There's another cost to that. So I tried to mix it up. So there is an element of cost, unfortunately, with this pursuit. So it's not just the gear that you want to buy. It's all the expense of accommodation. But in Scotland and in Wales, there are some bothies. And bothies are free. There's a bothy code, so you should look after the bothy and keep it. And I've been to quite a few bothies, particularly mainly in Scotland, and they are excellent. They are absolutely superb, and I give money to the Bothies Association because they've just been fantastic places in the wild. And there's a cracking book out called the Bothy Bible, and it gives a description of the bothies up in Scotland. So there's a website as well, and there's one or two, as you will all be aware, one or two in Wales. Yeah, so, there's a lot of driving. It's difficult with family commitments and work. So that can be a bit of a downside with it. But just mix it up. Just do the odd Hewitt if you're going to do it every now and then, and just don't get obsessed by it. Is it worth it? Is it worth doing the Hewitts? Of course it is. Yes, get out there and enjoy the mountains. I often personally have a roller coaster of emotions when I'm on my trips. Getting up early and driving, and the physical demands of the walk, or the weather, or having a heavy backpack can bring your spirits down a little bit and think, why the hell am I doing this? My God. But then it's a roller coaster, because then I got highs, the views, the wildlife, the experience is absolutely magic, and you feel on top of the world, and it's fantastic. So you will have roller coaster sort of emotions. You know, I've got to get up early to drive to North Wales, but when you're up there, it is fantastic. So yes, of course it is. It's worth doing, definitely doing the Hewitts, in my opinion. It's fantastic. And any of those sort of tables and lists are worth doing, because you'll have fun along the way, and it's good for the soul. It's very good for your mental health, and just get out and go walking. Well, lists can be fun, but don't get obsessed with them. I know a lot of people like lists. There's lists now about trig points, and apart from summits, bothies, and visiting bagging lakes, and all waterfalls, and all sorts of things like that. It's just great fun, isn't it? And you know, if you can do a mountain walk and go to a new summit, and en route find a waterfall, or it's a new trig point, you know, it's fantastic. It's a different viewpoint. It's all a little bit of fun. And I would like to point that there's quite a few people that I follow on YouTube, and they do all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna make a list, and I'll put it on the video. I'd like to thank them. I subscribe to their channels. They're brilliant, they're inspiring, and they're good fun. So I list them, and also one or two from Scotland. So if you do venture up to Scotland, follow them. You probably are following a lot of these people anyway, because they're cracking channels. But I'll put a list on of those channels, and thanks for all your support out there. So yeah, the Hewitts are great. The second round I'm doing different routes, as I just said. I'm trying to I've made it a bit harder for myself with some of the routes I've decided, but it's helping my fitness. Although some of my trips have been hard. Sometimes they've been very, very hard. But they've always been rewarding, and it takes you to new places. I've had great fun, particularly for my mental health. I know for loads of pubs everywhere, so that's becomes part of walking. It's fantastic, and I've enjoyed the experience of bothying, like I said, and backpacking in Wales and in North Wales. So you'll see a photo. I'll put a photo up when I did the Rhinogs Traverse. Oh, terrible weather. My face says it all. I'm useless. I've got quite a few tents. I'm terrible at putting them up. My brother's brilliant, so I'm still trying to master putting up the tent. And it don't matter, really. I'm not a fair weather walker. Well, we've had quite good weather this year to date. But, you know, if I got a day off from work, or I got an opportunity to go, unless it's really horrendous, I'll go, even if it's raining or windy, and enjoy the wind, and enjoy the seasons, and that's fantastic. There's one guy, I won't mention his name, but he's a Hewitt bagger, a Nuttal bagger, and he's done all the Nuttals and Hewitts in every month of the year. So that's a hell of a challenge. He's probably done about he's obviously done 12 rounds, but I think he's done more than that, and he's bagging them all in different months. So yeah, bagging the Hewitts is great. In the summer, it's boiling today, lovely, you know, it's a bit harder physically, but then on a crisp, clear autumn or spring or winter day, there's nothing better. Another good thing, because I do a lot of walking with my brother. It's brought me even closer to my brother. We were close anyway. We were a close family and close with my other brother. So that's been good. But also, I've got a son, and I managed to get him into hill walking. He does a lot of climbing, etc. From a young age, I have dragged him up mountains, and he still comes with me and my brother and out with me every now and then, and he's really enjoyed it. So you can make it a family thing. That's great. So YouTube, well, that's relatively new to me. I'm a bit reluctant doing videos. I'm not very good at it. The reason I started doing it, because I was asked by one or two friends to, why don't you put a clip of your mountain walk on YouTube. Now, I've always filmed and photographed my walks, even from the early 1990s onwards. I've always made DVDs, trips to Scotland, for example, set to music, backpacking trips, filmed it, sun setting, sun rising on top of hills. Not very good, move around a lot. I'm not very brilliant at, and I haven't got a drone and all that. You see some people, I'm not very good, but I've always filmed my walks. I've got a huge catalogue of videos, and it's quite funny looking back at them. The equipment I was wearing, the mistakes, navigation we did, the various sizes I've been slimmer, been fatter. A lot of heavy breathing, like porn films, a lot of them. That's me trying to get up a mountain, but I've always made videos. So it was a natural progression to put one or two on YouTube. I'm getting a little bit better. I learn from you all and other people, but I'm not too obsessed about it either. It is what it is, and at the moment it's just fun, and it's I think the videos, the reason I was doing it, because it was a diary, and I thought one day, it's nice having photos, but one day wouldn't it be nice, when I can't walk any longer, to have memories in video, which are an enhancement, I think, of the experience. So it's not quite like being there, but I've done a few films. I did a big backpack recently around the Mulladoch, Munros. It was fantastic, and I look at the video and have a glass of wine or a beer and laugh at the experience. It was brilliant, and the views are amazing. So I've been very lucky. Yeah, so I will keep trying to make some YouTube videos, and thank you all for your support. It's a bit of fun. I know I look like Kim Jong-un, and I'm not the fittest bloke in the world, but yeah, it's good fun. So thank you for all your support out there. And like I said, I'll mention some YouTube channels which are worth watching for anyone who may not have come across those channels. So they're worth looking at what people's experiences are on the hills. In summary, I think the Hewitts are very enjoyable. They're quite a good challenge. It's quite an effort to climb them all. I always feel happiest when I'm out and about in the countryside. I must be honest. The exercise is great. Doesn't matter about the weather. I just enjoy all the seasons, and I just love being out in the outdoors. So take it in perspective. The list was just a means to an end, really, of getting me to explore different parts of Wales and different mountain ranges. So yeah, it's really good fun. I think that we all would be shocked by some of the wonderful places we've got on our doorstep. We haven't got to travel hundreds of miles or 50 miles to go anywhere. We've all got places really close to home which are fantastic. Just get out and about, and they just get about and enjoy the countryside. And that's, I think, the most important thing of all, is to just get out and about and as often as you can and chill out and take the strain off the world out of your head for a few hours, and enjoy nature and the wonderful countryside we have in Wales. So there we are. Hope that's answered a few queries about the Hewitts, and I'll put some more photos up, so please have a look, and if you've got any questions, please just let me know. So just thanks again for watching, and thanks again for your support. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.